Chris has been a nice friend and patron of the store, and he has 3 books on the shelf, and they're very music infused, so we thought it'd be a good opener for today. So he's going to give us a reading from one of his pieces and play some music to go along with it. And you know, it's a compendium sort of travelogue with lots of features from places he's visited and culture and music and literature and art that is inspiring. So thank you so much, Chris Joseph Stancato.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. First and foremost, thank you for the introduction. And I want to thank Sweat Records for this opportunity. You know, they do a lot for artists. They had DJs in here, authors like myself and Andrew Otazo, and musicians. And you know, with Sweat you have to thank Lolo. So I am grateful for your kindness and your opportunity. You know, your contribution to small businesses, your civic involvement, and for making Sweat the cornerstone of Miami music. Thank you so much. And with a great place, there's great people. So I'm going to thank a lot of people for the work the Sweat crew here. I know some of them have left already, but I want to thank Daniel, aka DJ Hot Pants.
Yes. Oh my God.
I want to thank Mr. Entertainment himself, Steve Toth, right? Lauren is always helpful with her time and consideration. I come in, I'm asking about my books and music selection, so I appreciate it. And Betsy, who I was formally met today, I've always seen her in the past, in the way like passing, mostly going to Churchill's Pub. You know, rest in pieces. but that's usually when I saw her. So today I got to introduce her and say, hey, I saw Chris, the guy, we just wave at each other, right? So she's a sweetheart, kind soul. And let's see, Zach, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure, you know. I wasn't sure who was going to be here. Ben and Rohan.
Yeah.
Rohan's musical selection of Miami Sound was an album my wife purchased for me, and we love it, and so it was great. So round of applause for you and the people here. Also, it is an honor to share the stage. As I mentioned, Andrew Otazo, it's great. I can't wait to find out about the god Pachango, if I say that right. He's going to say it better. And we had a chance to talk a little bit. Again, I was telling him I followed him on Twitter, now X, and now I follow him on Instagram. But I was able to see the work he does with the environment and his civic involvement and the other things he does around town and some of the amusing posts that he has. And so I can't wait to read about or listen to his books. So thank you, I appreciate it. So we are here to celebrate music and literature. My book reading will be like a book performance because, let me check everybody in there, because I'll be playing music that's in my stories. The main character is Trey Carte. He learns at a young age the important process of handling vinyl records from his dad. Just like the story, you'll be experiencing these simple stages while I'll be playing music, a soundtrack. Because, like I said, I'm going to be playing a record from the chapter. We'll have fun. You'll appreciate a part of my writing style that is influenced by music, as Lola was saying. In fact, all of my, my literature, poetry, and paperbacks is influenced by music. Whether it is obvious or not, music is always a factor. Every great song has a great story. I'm opening with a quote and the title of my book. The quote is a statement to express the power of music, and the context for significant moments in the story. Significant in the sense about the retelling of the story by placing a song from the background to the foreground. And when it comes to music marking a moment in our social timelines, we've all had a moment like this. We say, remember that time at a party and a song was playing? A song shared by two lovers, a song at a wedding or a celebration, and of course songs for those who have passed. So my book has 3 volumes, and I'm going to begin with Volume 1. Volume 1 is a coming-of-age story about Trey Carte, his social timeline, a soundtrack of 10 chapters, and the budding relationship with his dad. Volume 1 is set in the borough of Bell Vernon, which is located in western Pennsylvania. The time is 1977 at a small house on Water Street, a place where the wealth of rich music, a vast collection of vinyl, creates a unique cohesiveness for father and son and in the community. And with the turntable of time spinning, we follow Trey's challenges and celebrations. The variety of music in all 3 volumes is poetically pronounced in these short story chapters. The narrative of Trey Carte and his relationship with that music prospers chapter by chapter, song by song. Now I'm going to read part of a passage. Trey, who is 6, is listening to his father, Trevor, give instructions about the handling and carrying of a vinyl record, while Bridget, this is Trevor's girlfriend, is by Trey's side. She's enjoying this lesson that is not limited to the LP Trevor holds, but life in general. This is the example Trevor sets for Trey, these practical instructions to play Nat King Cole's Ramblin' Rose. Now, this is a favorite song for Trevor because he sings this to Bridget a lot, right? But he gives her this nickname because he says that she's a chatty Cathy, right? He says, all you do is talk, 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 talk. And she's always quick to return and say, I'm the best looking chatty Cathy you'll ever meet. He also sings it to her. Ramblin' Rose, why you ramble, no one knows. Okay, and this is why I'm a writer, not a singer. So I digress. I appreciate the laugh. Anyways, so to move forward though, but like I said, he always says it to her like in a loving and an affectionate way. Trevor's passion for music will resonate with Trey. And with 2 jobs, he always makes time for his son, like they did for his birthday in the Mon Valley. So, excuse me. So, it's his day of celebration, right? It's his birthday. It's Trey's birthday. The first thing they do is they're going to go to the Coyle movie theater. And then afterwards, on the way to the diner, they're going to go and take this road trip in the Mon Valley. The Mon Valley is named after the Monongahela River. And there's boroughs, places like Belle Vernon and Charleroi and Menneson that I also mentioned in the story. So on this road trip, on this small valley, Trevor is going to talk about these people and places along the ways, these blue highways, right? So really what he gives Trey is the joy of travel, the gift of travel. And this is something that you'll recognize in the story, is that Trevor embraces time. He doesn't let it waste away. We all know that time can be capricious and cruel. We also know that time can be stable and sound. We can all agree that time is precious. The story progresses with topics like being bullied, learning about humanity, and as we grow with Trey, we also learn the relationship with Trevor and Bridget, playful and romantic, and the importance about being there for each other and for Trey. Trey doesn't recognize the fact that he's living with his dad's girlfriend, but that they're not married. What he recognizes, as you will read, is that they're there for him, individually or together. He has 2 people who love him, and this is what really matters. Now I'm going to play a song here. It's going to go with the next chapter. So, excuse me. In my stories, there are the chapters like the summer of B94. Trey, who's now 13, he walks into Parendo's newsstand for a sweet candy bar with his dad. But surprisingly, he comes out with a newspaper job, a morning paper route, beginning at 6:30 in the morning over the summer. This is a job that he was not too happy about. I know because I had this job. However, Trevor wants him to get some responsibility, wants him to learn about being accountable. And so he listens to a radio station called B94. And this is going to be his summertime soundtrack. So now I'll read part of a passage again. The setting is Trey's 8th grade English class for a show and tell project. He introduces his classmates and teacher to the proper way to handle their vinyl collection. Then he explained the mechanics and maintenance of his record player by using his as an example. Trey played Glory Days from Born in the USA while he recited a story about the influence of music. Trey read his story with song titles. He said, "To conclude my show and tell, I have a story about music from my morning paper route while listening to B94. I would be footloose and dancing in the dark some mornings. Other mornings I'd want to call Ghostbusters because I was going round and round on the streets looking for a shadow that spooked me. Delivering the morning newspaper was a hard habit to break, but people are people, and I would talk with everyone on my route. I recognize that Belle Vernon is a small town. However, it is my hometown. I also know that I can't live without my radio because I feel like I'm walking on sunshine. Enjoying the music and working was just like honey, and I can't fight this feeling knowing that B94 gave me my glory days." With a round of applause and a grade that equaled his progress in class, Trey completed 8th grade on a high note. So, not sure if you catch some of those songs. I hope that you did. Those are classics from '84. And one interesting thing about Trey on this morning paper route is that, like I said, he meets a lot of interesting people, right? So he'll meet the baker at Valdesari's Bakery. The baker always comes out, he's got flour all over his apron, different colors of the frosting, icing. And they'll always joke around about they're probably the only two people so up in the early morning hours, the wee hours of the morning. You know, it's a small town. He will also meet a gentleman who's working at the telephone company back in the day. This guy's in this building the entire night working his overnight shift. And when Trey delivers him the morning newspaper, the first question he'll ask is, how's the weather outside? Because like I said, he's been inside the entire night. So Trey has this social role of being a weatherman as well. And he will talk about sports locally and nationally, you know, from the Bell Vernon Leopards, which is the team there, and then the city team of like the Pirates and the Steelers, right? And sometimes they'll talk on his sidewalk in front of his porch, you know, the bowling manager's porch, and they'll just talk. The thing about this is that this is his social part of the job. This was the part that he likes. That was the part that I liked. So in Volume 1, you'll read about, this is the historical fiction, right? You'll read about the Voyager 1. This launched in 1977. So just a question to the audience here. Does anybody know anything about the Voyager 1? It's still in orbit. Anybody Voyager 1?
Sure.
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the farthest spacecraft from the Earth ever.
There you go, right? So, and it's still in orbit. Thank you, I appreciate that. Hey, you know what? You get a book.
Right over there.
So, like you said, it's it's the farthest spacecraft, right? And the importance of it, and I think we can all appreciate this, is on the Voyager 1 that was launched in 1977. It has 2 golden discs, and on these golden discs, it's got music. The golden disc, similar to the vinyl records we have in Sweat. Carl Sagan, billions and billions of years ago, and that's something he would say, but Carl Sagan made this decision, right, that he said it had to be on there. Because someday, perhaps some extraterrestrial life will receive it, and they will have instructions. I kid you not, there's to play a phonograph, it's right there. So they can hear things like Navajo night chants, the different languages, like that are in my friend's book right here, right? The different languages. If that's on there, sounds of whales, you know, and there's music, right? Johnny B. Good, okay, right? You're going to say something?
They reproduced the album a few years ago, and you can buy a copy of it, and I do have one, and it is amazing. And it comes
That's
with
great.
2 yellow vinyl discs and like a whole booklet and a lithograph.
Yeah.
No, it was like direct from the label, but I believe they still have copies, and it is like, it's really cool, and it has a whole booklet about like the humpback whales and everything.
Yeah.
And the, you know, Sanskrit notes and whatever they put in so that other cultures could read it, or other beings.
That's great though,
So
right?
cool.
Yeah, it's a gem.
Yeah.
It's a gem. I read about this in the newspaper report, I put the book together, and it just happened to be with the year that I was talking about, and I thought, wow, it's got like Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring that's on there. Again, you know, and it's, you know, you can see how valuable it is, you know, but that's the historical fiction that is in the book. Also, we conclude with Volume 1 after it's some challenging situations for Trey and Trevor, like the chapter about the flood in 1985. In Trevor's van called Vagabond, they packed up and they started over. And now we go into Volume 2, which is titled 6 Songs of the Open Road. The story continues with this theme for short stories. Every great song has a great story. In this story, the soundtrack of 6 chapters, 6 songs, resumes with the wealth of rich music for Trey and his dad. Once more, the turntable of time spins as Trey befriends 2 neighborhood kids at Henry Street and Orange Alley in North Bell Vernon. In 6 Songs of the Open Road, the velocity of the vinyl moves to the beat of a brotherhood, a father and son relationship, teen romance, and a memorable Halloween. On a Saturday morning in 1985, Trey will meet those 2 kids, James and Jack. They will have conversations about family, sports, music. They'll play outside all day, and this will continue throughout the story. For Trey, who wonders as he wonders, following James and Jack on this day will be an awesome experience. Trey, who now is in 9th grade, attends his first Christmas dance with James and Jack. On a Friday night, they entered Belmar Junior High, which is like a middle school, but it's Belmar Junior High, to Van Halen's Jump. And the music will flow from a DJ who's in between 2 large speakers like bookends. Bruce Springsteen's rendition of Santa Claus is Coming to Town is played. Here, the boys with a few other classmates will sing the song and play the parts like the one kid did with his tie, as if he were Clarence Clemens playing the saxophone. All the kids in the circle will play a role as if they're part of the East Street Band. In another chapter and song, Trevor shares a story, a folklore about a place called Beautiful Green's Blue Moon Bar, and a poet named Strollin Stephen Patton. Here, Trevor sparks Trey's imagination his imagination with the setting of the folklore, there's magical realism, and there is a moral story. So on a side note, an important one for me, a couple of months ago, Broward College contacted me via email, and they said, hey, you know, we're celebrating 60 years of Pan-Coup, which is their literary magazine. And, you know, you've got to love literary magazines, you know, because to be around that long, even associated with the college, is something important, right? And they said, we would like your poem, which was originally published, Blue Moon Bar, not Beautiful Greens Moon Bar, Blue Moon Bar. We'd like your poem to be part of our 6-year anniversary. And I said, yeah, you know, so it's a nice achievement, you know, it's a nice thing to know that poem stood the time for a long, long time, you know, something was like many, many moons ago, I'll just say. But anyways, Volume 3 is appropriately titled, Every Great Song Has a Great Story. Our story began in 1977 and it concludes in 1989. In one part, Trey is introduced to reggae music. So on a Friday night, he's playing basketball with some friends. Reggae music is blasting from a boombox, right? And he's going to tell James and Jack that he feels like it gave him an extra bounce in his step, right, playing basketball. And they're going to laugh. Then he's going to tell his dad the same thing. And his dad's going to laugh because his dad, like his two buddies, right, they know he's got no future on a basketball court. His dad will say, thank God for music. Trey will also learn about his family history to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Voyager 1. Their 11th grade history teacher will give them an assignment to create a time capsule and to also put together a family tree. Placing this family tree together is going to be a poignant story for Trey and Trevor, as you will read. All three boys will make their own time capsule. One will write on it, they'll all write on like on index cards, right? One will write he wants to be a traveler. Then will write that he wants to be a DJ. Another one will write that he wants to be a writer. This leads to the final chapter, titled after the U2 song, Where the Streets Have No Name. The three best friends will celebrate their graduation party as the class of 1989 with family and friends first, and then later that night in the James Martini's garage, in the garage, they'll party with their buddies, right? The boombox will be blasting with music. From rap music to Bobby Brown's My Prerogative, you will enjoy this dance-off with individual talents touting their best running man moves to the moonwalk. Thereafter, Trey will learn that his dad has a decision he has an opportunity to be a DJ down in Miami. And so Trevor decides to take Trey on a walk around town to discuss this decision. So they're going to walk, you know, North Belle Vernon into Belle Vernon. They're going to reminisce about their time there. He's going to talk to him. You know, they're going to go down Orange Alley, make a left on Graham, cross Fayette, go down by Baltimore, go down by Water Street. I mentioned these street names because Trevor's going to tell them in a figurative manner. He's going to say, listen, we're going to go from a small town to a big city, okay? You're going from a place where all the streets have names to a place where a lot of the streets don't have names. It's really just a comment about change, is really what it is. The night before Trey's to leave, the three boys will gather and they will celebrate with this U2 song. So that last story, like all the stories in this book, in this chapter, right, entail the song. In this period of our social timelines, difficult for some, challenging for others, this is a sentimental story, and that's all right because we are here to celebrate. To conclude with this important quote, in the essence of the Vinyl Record Collection of Stories, Volume 3, and my vinyl message, the government cheese doesn't get anything for that, but it's an appropriate place to say it, my vinyl message. Every great song has a great story. Let this story be the one for you. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
Oh no, did you make an accompanying playlist online or anywhere?
No, I did not. Yeah, I have it written down.
You should.
Yeah, right? That's actually a great idea. You know?
Yeah.
Expand the universe.
The series playlist. Yeah.
I love it.
Follow along.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I should put some of that together. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Oh,
Definitely,
yeah.
yeah. That's a great comment. Do you have anybody else? You have
Similar question. Do you have an audiobook version for hands for? But that's even a cheaper, I think.
Yeah.
Playlist instead.
You know, I would like to do that. I wrote a book before and it had a lot of jazz in it, and someone had mentioned the same thing. So I looked into it, you know, and it takes a lot of time. I think I have to find probably actors and things like that. I'm not sure if I could just read it, I don't know.
Good job.
Yeah, right? I could just do it like this, you know, so,
Yeah.
you know, I'll be sure to give you a card, you know what I mean? And if I do, you can follow me and I'll be sure to blast that out on the social media universe, you know, so. Does anybody else have any questions?
I was gonna say, I'm guessing the main character is like you during your childhood.
Yeah. I think that
Yeah,
was
like,
Yeah.
Or is it just the people? Yeah.
So, you know what it is? Yeah, I know, right? I probably give it away. So it is semi-autobiographical, I will
Okay.
say that. You know, many things that happened in my life, you know, they happen to Trey. But I believe that when you read it, you'll find your own voice, you know what I mean? And a
Yes.
story like that. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities. That time in the what wasn't called Prentice Newsstand, but in the newsstand, I remember my dad's like, hey, I've got a great opportunity for you. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm thinking maybe I was going to cut grass, you know, like for the neighbors, you know, at my time, you know, sure, I'll be down there at Mrs. Arnold's and around like 11 o'clock, you know. And he's like, I said, oh, great, morning paper out. But you know what? When I found that radio station, again, it's some autobiographical, but when I found that radio station, well, that changed everything. I'm listening to Wham, you know what I mean? I'm dating myself, obviously, but I listened to a lot of music, and it just seemed like it was good. And then when I started talking to people, I was like, this is a great job. And it was a great job until I started going to class, like, you know, and I wasn't doing so hot. And all of a sudden, my head was falling stronger than, like, you know, than gravity. And my science teacher was like, hey, wake up, you know, because my day was starting like at 6:15. And I'm going to school, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. So, but, so definitely parts of, elements of my life are definitely in there. You know, anybody else have any comments or questions, you know?
So there's no, like, I guess, hint at what happens after if this character, was sent to becoming a DJ in Miami?
So there is
Is
a
there
follow.
a bridge to Miami is what I'm saying?
Yes.
Other than that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I appreciate your question. Yeah, so about that bridge, I appreciate the question. Yeah, so there is. You know, I'm working on it.
Okay.
I write poetry as well, so I've been submitting to different places like for contests and things like that, and I've been focusing on that. And this I've just been promoting. But I have other ideas for books, but there is one. It's just that there's a gap. The gap is with me starting over by going to Churchill's Pub and reading poetry on a Monday night, you know, around 11 o'clock in July, you know. So there's a gap right there that it just might be a bridge to that, you know, and it's really just about me being at a dive bar trying to sell books. But it goes with one of the characters. One of the characters in the story, you know, but yeah, so it's there. I have the elements for that. I just haven't put it together. You know, so I appreciate that. And you know, Orange Postman, you can find me on social media, but I have this book for sale today at $20, you know, and she has books here. You know, you can buy them here first before you buy them from me. Support Sweat, you know. So, before I end, if anyone's got any questions or comments, I want to thank the most important person in my life. You know, my lovely wife. You know, she goes with me everywhere. Thank you, I love you a lot. You know, so it's always good to have her with me and to be by my side. So, I love you. Thank you.